Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he's fired all of his regional recruitment chiefs, citing corruption concerns. The officials in charge of enlisting soldiers have been accused of accepting cash bribes from individuals who wanted to avoid conscription. Zelenskyy called this an act of treason. He said the 33 suspects under investigation will be replaced with soldiers injured in combat because they can be trusted. And we can now speak to Marina Miron. She is a researcher at the War Studies Department at King's College London. Marina, thank you for joining us. So, how much is corruption affecting the military capabilities of Ukraine?
Good morning. Well, there have been reports earlier from the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, and by earlier I mean in 2016, 2017, acknowledging the problem of corruption. However, it has never been discussed publicly outside Ukraine, and there have not been investigations which were able to cover this topic and to effectively address it. So corruption exists. We don't know to what extent it exists, and what we're seeing now, and we have seen it before with the defense minister, that there is corruption in the procurement department. Apparently now there is corruption when it comes to recruitment of soldiers. How serious of a problem it is difficult to assess, but it is definitely affecting the Ukrainian armed forces, and I fear that these news will, of course, not come to the publicity, to the international media, or will be tried to be concealed as far as possible in order for Russia not to exploit this particular point as the war is going on, because the idea was to address this problem once the war is over, not while the war is raging.
And now, Marina, in a separate development, we've been getting reports that the German government is considering sending Taurus cruise missiles to Ukraine. How significant would this be?
Well, right now, what we know about these Taurus missiles and what Ukraine wants to do with them is the fact that these missiles can be somewhat compared to the British Storm Shadow and to the French Scalp missiles. However, they have a greater range, somewhat 1/3 of the Scalp missiles. That being said, it is not known whether these missiles will be exported with that same range because of the fear that the Ukrainian armed forces might be using these missiles to target facilities inside Russia, even if those are military facilities. And this trust has been shaking, especially with the use of drones to strike Moscow in the recent months. So there is a discussion. However, from a military perspective, they would give Ukraine the capability to increase the range and strike deeper into Russian-held territories, especially when it comes to hard targets. So they are essentially like Storm Shadow. However, Germany has more missiles available, so that gives Ukraine the opportunity to strike more targets without having to be very economical. And besides, countries like Spain and North Korea could potentially contribute their Taurus missiles, which they are currently operating, and them being cruise missiles as opposed to ballistic missiles, that would make it more difficult for the Russian air defenses to detect them. And also the low trajectory would also mean that the crew is relatively safe when deploying those missiles.
That was Marina Miron of King's College. Marina, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.